I decided I really want to get back to Texas. I want to start my own firm. I wanted to consult. I wanted to have some freedom. So I did. I started my own firm, Potomac Strategy Group. And over the last 13 years, we have built up, a pretty good little boutique firm that does two things primarily. We do corporate public relations work, energy, healthcare, telecom, tech, other industries. And then we help candidates run for office, generally conservative candidates, up and down ballot. I've helped elect 5 members of Congress. I've done statewide races. I've done legislative races. I've done local races.
What's involved in helping someone get elected? What are the kind of key things that you provide?
It's a couple things. I think what I try to do, in an ideal situation, I meet someone before they decide to run. And we go through a due diligence phase. We determine, what are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Can they raise money? What's their message going to be? What issues do they have? What's their background? And then we evaluate what their chances are of being successful, because running for office is hard. It's never been harder than it is today. And honestly, being in office has never been more miserable than it is today. So number one, you got to be really motivated about wanting to do something important. And number two, you have to have a chance to win. I don't want to help people who can't win because I don't want them to go through it. I don't want to go through it, and I really don't want them to go through it, because what you do is you stop everything else. You dedicate all your time to this. You ask all your friends and family to donate, right? People that don't have money, that want to do it because they're your friend. They give more money than they can or they should. And if you can't be successful, winners make the history, right? People that finish second and third in campaigns don't make any history. And so if you're running to do something, not to be somebody, you have to have a chance to win. So one of the things I do early on is I try to help people really get a sense of whether they have a chance to win. And one of the things I do that's very unusual, most of my colleagues and fellow consultants don't do this, is I tell people not to run for office all the time. All the time. I actually kind of like doing it because I'm actually doing them a tremendous favor, right? On the one hand, I can make more money if I have more people running for office, right? And so there's a financial incentive for me not telling people not to run. But my viewpoint is that running for office is so hard, you have to sacrifice so much. I don't want anyone to do it who shouldn't do it. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you can't be engaged in public policy or government or politics. It just means at the point we met, you are not a good candidate. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You don't have the right requisite skills, the communication skills, the ability to raise money, the network, the notoriety in your community, the background, the expertise. You got to have some mix of skills that can make you a compelling candidate for office. And if you don't have it, and I don't do it in a mean way, but I sit down with somebody and I evaluate during their due diligence phase, and I'll come to the end of it and I'll say, I don't think you should run for this office, and here's why. And again, a lot of my colleagues don't do that. But what we do is, so we go through that due diligence phase and then we help them. We help them decide to run. We help them decide how they announce. We help them devise their plan and then execute their plan. So that can be all kinds of things. Doing communications, could be providing their mail, could be doing their television and radio, their paid media, could be doing things like texting, could be doing things like managing their digital presence, their digital ad campaign, some combination of all those things. We offer all those kinds of services, and we help candidates up and down ballot all across the country. I've worked in like 14 states.
Have you ever considered running for office yourself of any kind?
It's a question I get a lot. The way I honestly answer it, really, truly honestly, it'll sound like a canned response, but I promise you it's a real answer. I do not have any designs at the moment on running for a specific office in a specific place at a specific time, right? I want to get to a place where my business is stable, where my family life is stable, where I'm moving in the right direction, because your personal life and your professional life have to be aligned for running for office to make sense. And there hasn't really been a point in my life where both of them were aligned and where an opportunity presented itself that I thought made sense. So I really don't think in the near to medium term running for office is in my future. That said, I think if I get to be 65 or 70 or 75 years old and I'm sitting on the front porch drinking lemonade thinking about my life, and I look back and I have never run for office, I will probably have regretted, because I will have wondered, could I have made a difference? Could I have really focused on important issues, helped people? That's the only reason you run for office. You want to be somebody, it's never going to sustain you. The costs of being involved in politics are so high, and people who do it to be somebody always get caught doing something they shouldn't be doing, and they end up not staying in politics. It happens time and time again. If you're there because of the mission, doesn't matter what it is, right? It could be that you are the most pro-life person in history and you want to protect innocent babies, or it could be you believe reproductive choice is fundamental. Either side of it, if you're motivated on that issue or any other issue, school choice, the military, doesn't matter what it is, immigration, the budget, as long as you have a couple issues that really motivate you, that's what's going to get you up when you get home at midnight and you have to get up at 6 a.m. to take an early flight to something you have to go do. If you're doing it because you want to be somebody, you're going to start cutting corners. You're going to start taking chances, taking risks, making bad decisions. It's not going to sustain you. And that's not true just in politics. It's actually true in life, right? The best job you can have is something that you would do for free.
It reminds me of something that, like, just in entrepreneurship, people say the same thing. I mean, you have to have a
Exactly.
business that you care about. Otherwise, you're just going to lose the momentum and the motivation. Same thing with politics.
Absolutely. It's no different, except that I think politics has such a high cost, a human cost, right? We have ridiculous expectations for public officials now, right? You could never have ever said anything on Twitter that anyone finds offensive. You can't have done anything in college or high school that anyone could now say is offensive, right? Winter storm, right? You want to leave, get out of the winter storm, take your family somewhere warm. You can't do it if you're an elected official now. Ted Cruz can't go to Cancun. Anyone else who wasn't in elected office wanted to go to Cancun, nobody would have said word one about it. The pressures on disclosing all kinds of things, your financial disclosures, having every word you say in public reviewed, having people attack you.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It's an absolute nightmare. I mean, it just is. It's like, why would a sane person want to do this?
Yeah.
So that's why you have to have that motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think that whatever it is you care about is so important. You are willing to pay that price day after day after day after day. Otherwise, you just can't sustain the effort and the motivation.